When the price dips and continues the bearishness, psychology of XRP investors seem really low. But what do we actually see when we take a step back and then analyze the situation? We will be able to find stuff which explain what are the odds for the price fluctuation. When we look at downward momentum in the short-term charts, we kind of forgets to understand the fundamentals and what we have achieved till now and how well we are progressing, right? The BIS report shows us a lot of things. Now, this is a recent report which is just published on 27th of August. Now, when we actually look at that, this report for banking and fintechs kind of brings us a lot of interesting aspects. To understand that, we are working on many different areas within this one. Say this on page number 8 gives us a lot of interesting idea from digital ID, open banking, crypto assets, and the payment service, right? So we get a lot of things including the API, cloud, and DLT. Now, this is not only a small idea within the document, but when you actually move around and look at it, shows 30 different jurisdictions around the planet covering the same aspect of banking and fintech. These all point towards the adoption stage and the progress in this industry and in this particular asset. So when we look at this particular asset, we also need to understand the entire market have influence on this asset. But if we are blinded just by the price and the mantra of bearishness, the short-term price fluctuations make your psychology low as an investor, and you won't be able to see the holistic picture in which the entire movement is happening, what the entire economy is doing, how the stock markets are doing, and what the projects inside the crypto industry is achieving. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. If you saw value for your time in the content, please do hit that like and subscribe button. If you would like to extend your support, you can use the Patreon and PayPal link in the description below. Patreon will give you additional value for your portfolio and different assets which you like to trade. So getting back into the topic, if you look around the globe, you can understand that yes, on one side of fintech, digital banking and all, you are seeing fundamentally strong positive news, whereas on the other side of the aisle, when you look, you can actually see double dips, recessions, economic depression. The idea is being spread on almost every area of the planet. Now, this one from Bloomberg shows that Australian businesses are expected to face difficulties. Now, that is one side, right? Then you look at the other area, which is India. India's central bank is kind of stating that towards the banking area, okay, if someone is coming towards you asking for debt, please just give them. Don't make it strict, because they have to some kind of a roll on with the economy. And the same is happening in the other side. Foreclosure and eviction, that moratorium is being extended throughout the year just because of the health crisis, they say. Okay, let it be. What happened when this all happened back in 2008, where there is some kind of health crisis? No, the same thing still happened, but now they can't actually kick out of them, right? They can't actually kick out all of these homeowners and buy these houses at cheap price, because there is a crisis which is happening around us, and they can't kind of close their eyes to this one, right? So now we have to actually go through the BIS report, and before that I would like to highlight the Central Bank Payments News actually tweeted this one out. Securities Commission Malaysia inks fintech cooperation agreement with Indonesia. So that's another collaboration, another expansion from Malaysia to Indonesia. So the fintechs are being looked upon by the entire financial sector. If we don't understand that, you have to check the Bank of International Settlement putting out a statement. Now, this is not the first one or the last one, but they are doing continued effort on this particular item. And when we talk about that one, say when we move into page number 6 of this document, they talk about most surveyed jurisdictions, where how this can be used, how this can be actually funded, and other steps for that. Now, when they talk about this, what you have to understand is They talk about how the technology is entering the space, right? New technology enable business models related to deposit taking, credit intermediation, capital raising. Everything is now in a new area using the technology. And when they talk about the new technology, you have to understand how now, the words being written in these documents are kind of well representing what has happened previously and what they are working on and what is to come. If you clearly understand that, whatever we talked in the Scientific Investor channel in last time, you'll get these words. Say for example, the financial development and the financial inclusion is one of the main area where Ripple and XRP is being highlighted. Now authorities are assessing whether the existing regulatory framework needs to be adjusted. Now that it's common sense. You have a new technology which is disrupting the entire space, so automatically either you kind of accommodate them in your current framework or you create one for them. Otherwise the innovation would be kind of kicked out, right? Their response will likely depend on how they see potential risks to customers and investors, financial stability, and market integrity. Now, financial stability, they are talking about financial stability when the all around the globe, the finance is going down into deep waters, right? So they don't have actually the grounds to ask that, because if they use the technology, they may help to find a base for this recession. Now, the assessment of how these new activities might benefit society in terms of strengthening financial development, financial inclusion, efficiency, and how risks are dealt with under existing framework, and whether opportunities for regulatory arbitrage have emerged. Now, yes, around the world, if we are looking at, regulators are coming up with a bit more clarity than which we had at least 6 months back. In the last 6 months, we are seeing the banking sector, the regulators, governments opening up, right? They're loosening up for the crypto or digital asset market. Now, if we move on to say page number 8, this diagram, if we zoom in and look at this, now this one is a bit important. That's why we are gonna look at it. Say in this one, if you look at the bottom, you can understand it's tied up with your digital ID. If you look at the Pay ID initiative, you will understand how it can be connected here towards the DLT, API, crypto assets, and then your payments, clearing, and settlement. And at the bottom, you see data protection, innovation, cybersecurity, all those stuff which are kind of the regulatory side. If you need to be well regulated, you need all of these policies implemented. Then looking at the technologies which are enabling all of this stuff to be activated. So these are the fintech activities which has to be activated, right? In order to activate that, you need API, cloud, biometric, DLT, AI, and ML. So when you are using, say, for example, machine learning or artificial intelligence, you are entering into an era where you are utilizing the technology. Now, when we say artificial intelligence and machine learning, it kind of generalizes everything, and anything can be included inside that. Possibly anything can be included, but what we are talking about here is financial service. So anything you are thinking about that artificial intelligence should be related to this particular aspect, because for banks, financial service providers, their profits matter, right? So in order for them to understand the current scenario, the profit, and the future, which is entirely different, a space where they are being disrupted, they need millions of simulations to understand what are the odds, how they can take benefit from this, right? And that is an area where they are looking at the quantum computing thing and all. But that's something for future, at least 5 to 8 years or 8 to 10 years, until that these technologies will be available for majority of the corporate institutions. Now, yeah, it can be with China, 1 or 2 organizations within the national government of China or US, but even Russia and others too, but it's not yet common. So we can kind of discuss them later when it becomes something common. Now, that is the second stage here, right? Enabling the technology. First, the policy regulatory side, then which technology is being implemented for, which this regulatory clarity is being set. And then what are the implementation side, or how does it look when it is implemented? And in that aspect, we can see one of that branch is going towards payments, clearing and settlement. It's not just payment messaging, it's clearing that entire payment. And where it is going, it's going towards the e-money and digital payment service. So whatever we saw here in the initial area towards digital banking, digital finance, cross-border payments, everything moving into a digital manner, it really matters, because within that branch, this is a sub branch for what, including this one, the main branch, in which it includes crypto assets, and that inside that financial activities related to crypto asset. It can be trading, it can be investing, it can be custody services, anything related to crypto assets. So in that main branch, if you look at that, it is moving into a different area, but all of this are connected to blockchain and DLT technology here at the bottom. Now that is just one side of it, right? If you look at the main branch and come to this side, say for me it's my left side, and look at it, you can see the digital banking there, lending there, everything which is now being an attraction for the entire market. Let's say the crypto market is entering into that area. XRP, using XRP, Ripple, the company, would also be able to enter there. And that's why you see PolySign, right? You have a crypto banking. Then at the top, when you look at the asset management, you have robo-advice. That means you're using artificial intelligence and machine learning to understand the variations in the market to get proper advices for your investment. When you're looking at your different assets, how you can manage your portfolio, they are using machine learning, right? Now, that being said, when we actually move on to page number 11 on this one, we see 30 different jurisdiction area, say even including the American side, the Asian side and all. But when you go down in this one particular article, they kind of gives you different institutions around the bank. So for example, they are showing you the FIDA bank here in this particular region, and then when you look, you can see other institutions around the world, right? So what are all of this pointing towards? They are all going for digitized era, which is the digital banking, completely digital banking. Now when we just talk about all of this, we can understand that the fundamental for Ripple as a company is increasing. How? If you look at that, it's either directly by Ripple partnering with another institution, or Ripple's partner expanding into different region and using their ability and characteristics which they benefit from RippleNet. They're now expanding into other areas with other companies. Now in this particular article, which connects to Zara, it doesn't actually mention XRP, but once we enter the Internet of Value, the new standard, we have to use a bridge asset, a neutral bridge asset, and that's why we are looking at XRP. Now, Currency Cloud, Michael shared me this, and he kind of highlights Currency Cloud is a partner. Actually, Currency Cloud is a partner. So they are partnering with Contest. Now, that's for another cross-border payments initiative. So whenever we are looking at this, central bank digital currencies and cross-border payments, where it's going towards the positive arena, right? The central bank digital currencies are future. Now there is no need for a question mark, because majority of the countries have already started their journey. Institutions including BIS are providing report on a regular basis. IMF, UN, World Bank, everyone is concentrating on this particular stuff. It's not like one organization is focusing on this. Now when these supranational organizations are focusing on that, automatically we can see that the central banks around the globe, at least giant central banks around the globe, are also working on this, conducting trials, pilots, experiments, and now entering into an implementation stage. So experimenting something and getting into production of something is different, right? So when you enter into a production, you should understand that the initial design phase is over. You went through everything considering that one, and now they are looking at the future. So here it quotes, we are thinking about it from a domestic point of view, but one of the potential benefits is as building block for better cross-border payments in future. So do you understand anything? Using a central bank digital currency, they are looking at domestic payments first. So for me, as per my understanding, if they're entering into that one and allowing the corporates to use their own token, they still need a neutral bridge asset which doesn't have that politics, right? Now that is just one aspect, and that is valid for interledger. When you are entering into an interledger protocol era, the aspect in which interoperability would be entering with ISO 20022, it cannot, I won't say like 100% it would be interledger protocol, because there are chances for overledger as well, the quant network. So they kind of provide it for, recently I saw a news about 570 financial institutions using their network. Now, we haven't actually got our swell announcement yet. It comes by October 14, 15. Let's see how they announce the rest of the partners, because last time they announced up to 300, and then they stayed 50% of their the relationships are unannounced, meaning they already had around 600 by that time. And now it's, time just went, and there has been a lot of progress in this space, so automatically they should be having 700 to 800. Now that's just my opinion based on whatever we are analyzing here. Now when we talk about that, then they come into a cross-border system for future. Now why is that for future? Because it's not only Bank of England who should be having that digital fiat, say digital pound sterling in that one. If other countries doesn't have a financial infrastructure, say when they are remitting towards India, if they don't have digital rupee, there is no sense in them sending digital from one end and them not being able to receive. But with ISO 20022 implementation, maybe there is an edge, but still, to get completely implemented, you actually need digital tokens, central bank tokens all around the globe. Now, yes, we actually saw that these technologies are getting attention around the globe. Now, this one from Michael shows first ever World Stablecoin Summit to connect leading global projects. Now, as of now, majority of institutions, say Circle, are providing USDX, and others similar are looking at payment space. Now, stablecoins are being used for processing payments. I agree with that, but keeping in mind, if there is an area of inflation coming in, if the fiat currency itself is being disrupted, then automatically the stable coins which are being backed by these fiat currencies would also get hit. Now, that being said, that's the main reason why we talk about a neutral asset, a bridge asset, which should be neutral. Those who can understand the macroeconomic situation and what's happening around, you can actually see the cryptocurrency market is not reflecting well with that, because during these kind of time, the store of value you should be keeping up. Now that's on a shorter time frame, say when you're looking at 24-hour or a 7-day. But if you go to return rates and look at a quarter or a year, BTC is still not bad. It's like 16% up from last 1 year. Now that's from last 1 year, right? And then if you look at Ethereum, you can understand it's 120%. Then Chainlink went up 700, near to 700%, 658 to be precise, right? So that is like something which we all have to understand. And if you scroll down, you can see micro cap or small cap alts like Lend going up around 20,000% in last 1 year. So money is entering into the space. But when you actually look at Lend, you should also understand the liquidity in that one. Say if you look at the volume for Lend in last 24 hours, it's comparatively way smaller than what we are seeing here in the top 3, top 5, right? At least in the top 10, it's top 7 till top 7. It's like you have a lot of volume there. Now, yeah, you have something in EOS as well, which looks something similar. But when you actually focus on these projects, top 5, can understand the volume entering into that space is really huge compared to all other networks now. And then when you look at the price appreciation in different networks, you're kind of looking at, it's not happening. We've been waiting for a long time. Nothing is happening here. You can just look at the charts. Say if you actually focus on this particular chart, yeah, we broke to the downside. We are moving to the downside. We are having the divergence on RSI and MACD. Now, I posted this on Patreon before we started this bearishness on a shorter time frame. But when you look at it using different indicators, you also do understand, say on a Fibonacci level, you are looking at a retracement of 0.382. That's not a big deal. That's still on a rally mode. Then when you look at moving averages, you can understand the 50-day moving average is currently acting as a support on a daily chart. Now that's also not bad, because if you move on, say put your chart on a 3-day chart, say for example, and look at the price, you can still see that we are way above all the moving averages we have plotted, which is 20, 50 and 100-day moving averages. So that kind of gives you an ability. So if you want to confirm now, yeah, majority would be looking at different moving averages. So in that aspect, we can put a 200-day moving average there and check. We just crossed below the 200-day moving average. So that kind of gives you a symbol that that's a bit of bearish symbol, but that's on a 3-day chart. And when you compare on a daily, zooming in and understanding what really is happening, there is a possibility of a bounce to the upside. Now that is a probability looking at the daily chart, being said that 50-day moving average is acting as a support. Now considering that one, we understand that, right? So the liquidity issues will be huge in this crisis. If you are looking at the volume of volume being played into the cryptocurrency market or the general economy, should understand, sooner or later we are all entering into a new normal state for the economy. So better for you as an investor, digital is the new normal. Open banking is one among the new normal. Governments, regulators, smart money, and all are preparing for this. And the market is going to the downside. If you look at this, you can understand we have kind of established a base here for this particular asset, which is XRP, right? All of this is happening when we are all preparing for a new normal. You have to understand. So when we are entering into a recessionary cycle in the economy all over the world, we are watching this here, meaning we just made, it looks like we made a bottom here, and it looks like a head and shoulder pattern, which is being prepared to move to the upside, right? So we are all human beings. You should understand that first, right? We can make mistakes, but do understand the millionaires, billionaires, or whoever you're talking about, the smart money, they are also human beings. Just the matter is they think a bit differently. So let's try to be a bit smart and act accordingly to become smart money. Guys, that's all for today, and I hope you saw value in the content. And if you did, do support the channel, hit that like button. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.